Let's start with some mobility. So we're going to do a nice cat mobility. So we're coming on to all fours, shoulder blades drawing into the back, knees under hips, heel of the hand under your shoulder blade, chin just tucked in. From there, try to lift up through the length of your spine. So it's not really about how high you can lift, but how much of your back can you move. So let's try and draw your tailbone down, tuck your chin in, and try and lift up through the spine. And then relax back down to where we were. And again, draw up. And relax back down. So lifting through the spine. And releasing off. So most of us have an area that moves quite well, that's easy to move. So see if you can work out where your back wants to move, and then move a part that doesn't want to move so much. Because that's where the benefit is, that's the bit that needs to move. The bits you're always moving, well, they're moving, aren't they? So let's see what we can find. Draw your tailbone down, let the head hang. Make sure you're feeling a little bit of a stretch and release off. Let's do that a few more times. Make sure you keep breathing and hold your breath. So from there we're going to perhaps release through the wrist if you're feeling a little bit in the wrist. It's good to do some weight bearing though. And we're going to come into a rotation, but we're going to do this again on all fours. So we're going to do the thread needle, which is actually about moving this part of the spine. So we're going to try and keep our hips still. So when we do this, we're going to just lay one hand on the floor. So when you're doing this, be aware that you're not trying to move your hand, you're actually trying to twist your body. So it's not about the arm, it's about twisting the body. So back to that position again on all fours. Make sure you've got enough room. A lot of people try and do it like this and then end up all hunched up. So I want you to really spread out. Make sure you've got enough room for your body. Put the hands on the floor. Tighten up through your core a little bit. So remember, as you exhale, you're engaging your core. You can even squeeze your glutes a bit, so that you can keep your hips still, because that's what we want to do. We don't want to move the hips. And I'm going to rotate as we exhale, as we engage the core. So I'll do a few on each side. Then change, just because it makes it a little bit easier to think about what you're doing. So breath in, breath out, engage the core and try to rotate as high up through your back as you can. What we are going to do now is try and take it into a stretch. So if you find this difficult, I will just stay with what we've been doing. If you're okay with that rotation and it feels comfortable for you, then we're going to try and stretch the arm. Now we're going to bend the arm we're leaning on. So when you do this, please don't do it again trying to move your shoulder. Rotate, bend your arm, stay flat through the back and see if you can come down onto the shoulder. Now that is quite a long way to the ground, so you could put a block here if that helps you. So you're going to lean on the block. You could put that under your shoulder, under your head. So only come down here if it feels comfortable for you. It's a really stretch through the back. Push in through the other arm to come up. So remember, rotate first, get that bit first, nice long body position, keep the heart lifted, and then stretch through. A few breaths here if you can. Pushing through that support arm. Let's try and do one more each way. So again, you can do a few of these, that's a nice movement. And then reach through. Keeping the spine nice and long. And then pushing up and uncurling. From there, we're going to come down onto the floor. So make sure when you come down that you're coming down in alignment and you're not dropping your hips. So we're coming down onto the floor. Nice and long through the body. We're going to start with some gluteal bracing. So what I want you to do is to get your glutes to just tense. So I want you to imagine you're squeezing round, you're pushing your hips into the floor. I want you to try and do this as you exhale, as you engage your core, and try and keep your legs relaxed. Okay, I'm going to tuck the toes under. We're going to do the same thing. So again, try not to tense your legs. We're going to change it. So we're going to do that first bit. And then we're going to try and push our heels away. Now try not to push your knees up towards the ceiling because that could put tension into your lower back. Try to push your heels away as if they're going to touch the wall. So breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, engage your core, squeeze your glutes, push into your toes, push your heels away. Keep pushing your hips into the floor. And release off. It should be quite a strong contraction. So nice and slow. Let's see if we can do a few more. We're going to try and hold it a little bit. Nice breath. Nice and long. I'm doing it so you can hear it. But it is just normal breathing. So breathe in. Breathe out, engage. Push into your toes. Push the heels away. Really keep those hips pushed into the floor. And release off. Come up now onto your elbows. So we're going to do a plank. So I want you to really think about the fact that your core is holding most of your body weight. So we need to be on the elbows. And a lot of people do it in this sort of position, but you do need to come back a bit and then shift your weight over. So you want to feel that you're tightening around your shoulder blades, lifting up through your core. Breathe breathing, but it's going to be a wide breath because I want you to hold your core. Look at your hands. Draw those shoulder blades down. Lift up through your core, through your heart. And breathe. It doesn't matter how long you hold it for. If it feels like it's going wrong, you just sit back. That means if you feel like your shoulders are taking over, your back hurts, anything feels like it's going wrong, have a breather and then come back in. If you feel particularly vulnerable, you feel like you can't hold this, squeeze your bottom a little there. You want to make it harder? Put your toes down, push your heels away. This one you do need to squeeze your bottom on. And at any point you can change between the levels. Keep that core working. And when you're finished, sit back, have a little stretch. We're going to come onto one side. So still working with the glutes, but a little bit different from when we were bracing or when we were using them in the plank. So we're going to use glute med, we're going to rotate your leg. So let's come down onto the side. Keep your tailbone pointing towards your heels. Make sure you've got hip above hip. And try not to sink into the floor. So often hip position is just here, but we've sunk down here. We're not level, so we've rolled and we've messed up the position here. So make sure you put yourself in a good position before you start. Remember, we are rotating the leg. So we're not lifting the knee, and it does look very similar. It's quite hard to tell the difference. I want you to relax your leg. Rest it on the bottom leg. As you breathe out, lift up through your core, and from here, pull to rotate that leg backwards. And release. You can change your position at any time if you feel you're not lined up. So rotate, so it's pulling from here. And slowly relax back down. Let's do a few more. You could try anything between 10 and 15 of these, making sure that this is doing the work. Rotate, feel that contraction. Rotate. A little squeeze at the top. Exhale, engage your core as you move. So you could inhale on the way down. If that feels too rushed, that's fine, just take a breath again at the bottom. And work with your breathing. Okay, so we're going to keep the bottom leg where it is, we're going to extend the top leg. Tailbone down towards the heels. From here, I want you to pull here. So it's not a foot lift, you kind of pull in here. So I want you to feel that, and I want you to make sure that when you lift here, you don't drop here. So keep that bottom tucked under maybe. You feel that in the right place. Keep tucked under. You can do about 10 of these. We're going to hold it up. We're going to keep our tailbone pointing that way. Don't curl. Bring that leg forward and back. So if you find this difficult and you're rolling through the body, you're going to do a very small little kick and down. Exhale to lift, inhale here. Exhale to kick and back, inhale. Okay, so work at your own pace. Draw up, feel it, control it. If you do it slow, it's much harder, and back down. When you're doing the kick, watch what's happening with the rest of the body. So fast is actually easier, but what we're making sure of is that you're not kicking forward and rounding your body. So you have to stay really long through your body, even as you move the legs. And legs are heavy. You're going to lift and kick. Try to keep your shoulders nice and relaxed. Aim for around 10 of these. They could be much smaller. You could be here just doing a tiny movement. It doesn't matter. As long as your technique is really good, that's what we're looking for. Can you feel how much that makes your abs work? That's what it's for. It's not about the leg. When you've finished, bring that leg over. Anything that needs a stretch, maybe you feel you need to open the chest, maybe you were rounding a bit. Perhaps try and roll back into a little bit of a chest opener as you're stretching through the glutes. From there, we're going to go onto our backs. I'm just going to do a really nice, straightforward little bit of ab work. So I want you to pull up through your core. As you exhale, you're going to engage and move. So I want you to try and get your shoulders back. There's a lot of this happening when people do ab work, but I want you to literally move your rib cage. Keeping those shoulders back. Nice and relaxed. Think of the muscles that you're working. So as you breathe out and pull here, at the top, see if you can relax your shoulders. Tuck your chin in. Think of pulling here. Remember, you have to breathe out as you come up. But you still are kind of in neutral. So there's no hip movement. I don't want to see this tilting. Yeah, so be really aware of that. Let's see if we can do a couple more. Think of being long through the body. side now for that clamp. So knee on top of knee, hip on top of hip. Support yourself, don't collapse. Heels in line with the spine. Relax that top leg. Remember what we're doing? We're moving from here. So we're twisting. As you exhale, if you engage your core, it just helps to keep your hips still in this exercise. But that might be really helpful to you. And it's good to practice that engagement as you exhale. A little squeeze at the top maybe. You feel it? Lovely. Straighten that leg. So we're going to do the lift. Remember, that's from the side. So from here, lift up through your core, pull. Really try and get that at the side of the leg. And hold it up. So remember what you've got to do. You're keeping your body nice and locked in position. From here, you're going to kick forward. So this is about the spine staying straight, not curling, not tucking the hips under. Tighten the core. It can be tiny. Try and keep this hip still. So if you need to rejig your position, just be aware of being in alignment. Slow it down if you can. Try not to push into the bottom leg. So it might be that you need to do a very small movement. Or if you're struggling with that, do it a bit faster so that you can do a movement. To match the other side. So try your best to match the other side. It might be that it is actually very different. So that could mean that you need to go back perhaps and do the other side more if you felt that that wasn't very strong. So just pause the video, go back and do what you need to do what's right for you. Let's come on to the back. Oh, I forgot to stretch there, didn't I? So stretch out, you want to feel it. Some people find that they're tense in their upper body, so you might want to lean back, perhaps get a little bit of open through the chest. It's kind of a nice way to do this stretch because with the leg in front it's actually quite hard to arch your back, so that's kind of a nice stretch to do anyway. And then we're going to come onto our backs. From here, we're going to relax through the shoulders. We're going to pull your hips. So as you exhale, lift up through your core, pull hips to ribs. Try not to push with the feet. Try not to use your bottom. If you can get a nice hip movement, you might get a little bit of a back stretch. That's not a bad thing. Now we're going to start to add the glutes. bottom. Push into the feet. Point the tailbone towards the ceiling. Now really try to use those glutes that push through the feet to lift those hips. So the hips are leading the movement and the rest of the body just follows. Really push into the feet. Try not to let the knees wander. And I'm going to roll down. So remember, we're trying to roll through the spine with the hips coming down last. So we tilt, we add glutes, we add a push to the feet. We lift up. Keeping that core nice and strong. At the top especially, if you're going to pause, we really need a little bit of strength there, a little bit of core. A little bit of breath to come down. Don't hold your breath. Roll down. Really try your best to roll that spine towards the floor. Think about tension between ribs and hips so that you're staying in a nice position. And I'm going to finish with some strong bridges. So these ones have no tilt. So see if you can lock your body, squeeze your bottom, no tilt in, and push straight up and straight down. And you see that whole body moves as one thing. Let's try 2 more. Lovely. Feet and knees together, take the arms wide, relax your shoulders. See if you can roll your hips, keeping your shoulder blades heavy on the floor. Nice and easy, rolling from side to side. And then maybe bring the knees into the chest and a little bit of a massage through the lower back just by that little movement of circling the legs. Take it the other way. Lovely. Roll onto your side and sit yourself up. Well done.